Hey
Hey,
everybody.
hey there, hey there.
All right. So our topic today is going to be how to land a deal in retail with your product, okay? So we're
Right.
talking about food and bev, okay? If you have a health and beauty product, doesn't really matter what you have. We're going to talk about, we're going to give you guys some tips, okay, and how to land a deal. So let me turn on my comments so I can see if anybody is saying anything.
Yes.
Let me get the comments turned on. Okay, but let's talk about it. Okay,
I
so
think first though, shouldn't we introduce
all
ourselves?
right, let's reintroduce ourselves. Okay, for those of you
Yeah.
guys that are new to us, maybe
Mhm.
you just stumbled upon us and you don't know a lot about us.
Yes, I'm
And
Chavallo.
I'm Monique.
Yes, and we own Charleston Gourmet Burger Company. That's a food product company. And we
Mm-hmm.
also own Recipe for Retail. That's an educational accelerator where we help people get their products manufactured, developed, and really give connections for them to get their products on grocery store shelves or in retail store shelves. And so, just a quick little bit about our history. I mean, we just love burgers. We came up with this hamburger recipe that makes burgers juicy and tasty. It was a
Mm-hmm.
burger marinade, is what
Yes.
we call it. And we had to figure out a way because to really get it in retail stores or to get a following for it. And so we knew people really, really liked it. They loved the flavor, but we didn't have any experience knowing how to get it
No.
on the shelf, that whole transition.
Mm-hmm.
So really through trial and error, we learned it. But Monique and I, first step is we made that decision that we are going to share this with the world because our burger marinade was so good. It puts a smile on people's faces. Guys, we had our product developed. We had the recipe developed. We learned about manufacturing, how to manufacture a food product on a large scale. And then we had to learn, actually, after we had our the product, a finished product, how to actually get it onto the shelves. And so we really mentored, we listened to experts, and we got a lot of knowledge on how to do that.
Yes.
And it led to us being able to get our products into the big retailers, the
Mm-hmm.
Kroger, the Costco, Walmart, you name it, Lowe's Home Improvement. We were able to do that. And since then, so many people asked us, how did you do it? How do you get on magazines? How you get on the Food Network? And so we came up with Recipe for Retail, our educational accelerator.
Yes. And so this is where we really focus on helping other people have shelf space, okay? And that
Mm-hmm.
is, that's really our love. That's something that we love to do is helping people land shelf space, okay? But
Yeah.
let's talk about how do we help you land shelf space, okay? How do we help you get a deal in retail, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about that, okay?
Yes.
So here's something that's going to shock you, okay, that I'm going to say. Having a good product, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes we think it is, but it's not. Just having a good product is not enough. There are other things in there that you're going to need, okay? And so it's just kind of like if you're going on a date with someone and then they show up in like flip flops and dirty clothes or something, or they're not looking their best. Are you really gonna want to go out on a date with them? Probably not. And so, want you to think about your product in the same way, okay? So, if you are wanting to go in retail, let's look at your branding, okay? Because the retailer is going to look at your branding. So if you're wanting to go on retail, you have to make sure that your product actually looks retail ready, okay? Do I
Mm-hmm.
have professional branding on my product, right? Do I?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure all of that is intact, okay? Is it consistent? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
does my product look one way and it has a font here, but then if you go on Instagram and you see my page, does it have a different type of font and totally different colors? And on Facebook, it's way different. And so nothing is consistent. There's no brand consistency. That's a dead giveaway to the buyer that they're probably not going to be retail ready. They're not ready.
Right.
They're new. So, there are certain things we want to do to make sure that we're sending all the correct signals to the retailer that we are ready. And so one of those things is making sure we're brand consistent, making sure you're using the correct colors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We do have other videos on that as well. To help you there. But brand consistency, that's a big one. So, as I just said, having a good brand is not, and having a good product is not enough, right?
Yes.
And so the retailer is not only investing in you, they're also investing in your overall brand. So that means, I know sometimes it's easy if you have a product and you think, oh, my product is good enough. I don't have to show my face. I don't have to tell people I'm the owner. But yes, okay, that's what retailers are looking for. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they have enough products on the shelf just sitting there. Okay, what's gonna separate you? All right, how are you gonna be different than one of those big brands that has a big advertising budget? What's gonna make you stand out? What's gonna make you stand out is coming from behind your brand and talking about your brand story. Okay,
That's right.
letting the consumer know who's behind this product. All right.
Well, no two brands have the same brand story.
No, they don't. And so, if you think about some of these bigger brands that are out there, do you know their brand story? Because I know I don't. I don't know. I don't. We just know they're big brands because they have big advertising dollars and they're out there. But for you, you want to be able to make that connection with the consumer. Okay, so come from behind your brand. Make sure you're telling your brand story, and when you're doing it, do it in a way that you're not giving facts. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. All right, so we don't want to lead with, oh, it's gluten free, it's all natural. That's great, that's a fact. But what we want to lead with is telling your brand story. So your brand story would be something like, when I was little, I used to be in the kitchen and my grandparents would make these amazing meals and I would smell these amazing smells. And, at times I would help my grandfather cut the onions, and I would help my grandmother prep. That's the story, because then, the buyer and your customers are then envisioning you as a child, and they're going along on that journey. Okay, so think about all the morning shows you've probably watched before, and entrepreneurs are on there and they have those entrepreneur segments and people are telling their brand stories, right? But what's also happening as they're telling their brand story, they're showing you photos, someone's narrating it, photos are being told. Why? Because they want to take you on the journey, and that's what you want to do. And that is something that the retailer is looking for. Okay.
Yes, and so as you talked about the brand consistency and a label and a design, and the key is how to land a deal with a retailer. Retailer wants to know that you have an actual product that is really ready for the shelves. Now,
Yes.
what if you come there with a maybe a little plastic bag? You're like you have like you have like you the peanuts in a plastic bag at a farmer's market, or some people may have a little brown paper bag that they put stuff in, or you go to a buyer meeting with a mason
A
jar.
good old mason jar. I don't know why we do this. Please stop going to retail buyer meetings with mason jars, and stop going to Staples and Office Depot and buying Avery labels. And then for whatever reason, we love Arial font in black and big. Stop doing that, okay? Because it's a dead giveaway. You're not ready to go on the shelves when you do that. So it's not, that's not branding. And so that's not something that's going to make the retailer say, yes, we must stock you in our store today. Okay.
Yes, but a retailer really wants to know that they're able to also that you're able to fulfill a large order, because one thing is if you're making your food product in your kitchen, or maybe you rent a commercial space and you may make a good amount to do a farmer's market or a special event. But for a retail buyer, a retailer, they want to know that you can produce your product on a large scale.
Mhm.
Now, does that mean necessarily going out and getting a whole factory for yourself, the whole manufacturing facility? Does that really mean to do that? No, may not mean to do that, but there are ways with a food product, or really other products too, but even
Mhm.
a food product, for you to get your product manufactured on a large scale. And with food, we call that a co-packer, which is a contract manufacturing facility. And when you go to a co-packer, you're able to have your recipe, that recipe that you came up with, that you're doing in your backyard, in your kitchen, or in your if you're a chef, and where you actually prepare your food, or if you're a caterer or something like that, your recipe, and you bring it to the co-packer. Their food scientists can produce it in a way that it tastes the same exact way as yours, is done to your specifications, but then they're able to produce it on a large scale to be able to fulfill the orders. Because when you get in retail, those are big orders you get.
They're huge orders, which brings me, okay, Sammy has a good question. He says he's trying to see which makes more money, owning a grocery store or a product in the store. Okay, so let's talk about this. So we're talking about revenue. Obviously, with revenue, you probably would have more revenue coming in with having a grocery store, okay, because you have multiple products. But now let's break this down, Sammy. Okay, um, let's talk about how much profit. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're owning a grocery store, your overhead is going to be huge. Okay.
Payroll.
Yes, you have employees, you got insurance, heavy insurance. You got a lot going on if you're going to own a grocery store. But if you have a product in a store, okay, I feel like you would probably come out better because you're going to have much less overhead. And especially, if you are someone that works with us and you're going to do it the way we tell you to do it, we have a streamlined process. So we don't want you to have a lot of overhead. Okay. We want the process to be very streamlined. And so that way, we're not going to go out there and build a co-packing facility. We're going to hire a co-packer that's going to produce our product for us, because there are already people out there that probably make the product that you're thinking of. Sammy, if you don't mind, tell us what the product is. So let's say, Sammy, I'll just make it up until you put it in. Let's say you have a sauce. There are so many co-packers out there that make sauces. Or if you have a particular spice or a beverage, it's co-packers out there that can make anything, right? They already have the capability to do it. So there's no need in us reinventing the wheel.
That's right.
We're just gonna hire them to do it for us, because they're doing it anyway. So we're just gonna hire them and pay them to do it for us. Okay. So I think your profit will be much better. And yes, there are people that are making six figures a month with having their own food product, okay?
Or more
a month. And get this, some of them are not even in retail stores. We know multiple people that are making six figures a month and they're not in retail stores. They're just selling on Amazon and their website. That's it. And that's plenty for them, and they're fine to do that. So you're thinking about getting an investor to help you get your product off of the ground. So here's my advice for this, Sammy. I would not, and this is just me. Okay, now, again, these are just our opinions. You do not have to take this advice. If it were me, I would not go in with an investor, okay, because you don't want to give away equity, okay, when you're first starting your food business, all right? So you don't want to give away equity just for money, okay? Because there are creative funding ways to where you could use someone else's money to pay for inventory without giving away the equity. Okay, so there is a process, and it can be very streamlined. So you don't have to have an investor from the gate. And sometimes we feel like, when we're wanting to have our food business, sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to get an investor, because we make up in our minds how much it's going to be. Oh my gosh, it's going to be $50,000 to produce this. It's going to be this. It's going to be, and really, when you start peeling back that onion and you're looking at all the different layers and you're actually understanding how much it costs, it doesn't cost as much as you think.
That's right.
Okay, it doesn't cost as much as you think. And again, it is a process. And how we work, we have a program. It's called our VIP Accelerator, where we work directly with our students to help them get their products in retail. Some of them come to us, it's just an idea, or it's something that they're cooking. And so what we do is we teach them our streamlined process. And our process is, they're not manufacturing a whole bunch of product until they already have a deal on the table.
Right.
Only thing they're doing is getting samples made so we can have in-person buying sessions, which we do often. We're getting ready to do all next week. That's what we'll be doing with our VIP students. We'll be in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and they'll be meeting with retail buyers there. So what we do inside the accelerator is, our students don't actually do these huge production runs that cost a lot of money until we know they actually have a deal and there's a need for the product. Because for multiple reasons, you don't want to do that. One, and especially, I don't know if you have I'm assuming you have a food product, because you said grocery store. So if you have a food product, you don't want to manufacture that food product and then have it sitting in a warehouse, because you have an expiration date on it. So even if it's 2 years, you don't want that clock to start ticking until it makes it to its location. Okay. Right. So I wouldn't want to have a bunch of money invested in a product, but invested in a bunch of inventory that's just sitting there. So there are times you can be very intentional about how you're how you're doing when you are going into production. So let's say, and I'll just say, let's say if the retailer said, okay, Sammy, yes, I'm going to give you a deal. I want to pick the product up. The product has to be delivered to our distribution center by the 28th of the month, right? So how we would do it is, you would go probably into production probably around maybe like the 24th, somewhere around there. So that would be your goal date, 23rd, 24th, something like that. And then ship it out probably around the 25th. That way it gets there. So that way, one, you're not producing a bunch of product that, you can't sell, you can sell it. Two, most people don't have areas to most people do not have places to store all this product. so it also is going to help in that way as well, because you won't see your product. Mm-hmm. And so how it'll work out is, it'll just be an email. So it'll be like the retailer will come, they will pick the product up from the co-packer, okay? And you won't see it. So it's just an email. So it's a process that we take you through. We want you, the most valuable thing you're going to have in your business is your equity. And you don't want to go into the business giving it away. Now, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but you think about, okay, let's think about an exit strategy, right? So if your exit strategy would be, all right, I'm going to start this food business, I'm going to grow it for 5 years, and I know I want to sell it. Okay, then maybe you would want to bring on an investor to help you really build it up quick, because you want to sell it. But if you're starting your business and your strategy is not to sell it in 5 years, if it's to hold on to it, because maybe you want to pass it down to your children, maybe you want to have it for a while. So then we would recommend, don't give away equity. So, I would say, it's a lot to think about when you think about bringing on investors. So I would just say, give it a lot of thought. Oh, okay. So this is Renisha. So you're on your son's page and his name is Sammy. That's so funny. Okay. So let's talk about, so how much is our program? So the program is called, it's our VIP Accelerator, right? 2 ways people work with us. So, if you want to be a part of our VIP Accelerator, or we also have people that come in and say, you know what, I just want to be your private client. I don't really want to be in the accelerator. I just want to be a private client. I just want to work with you guys. So, if you're in the accelerator, it's $19.97. Okay. $1,997, and we do have Klarna and Afterpay. Is $19.97.
It breaks up the
payments. Okay. Mm-hmm. There is an upgrade to that level, and that's our platinum level. And most people join at platinum. Platinum is $39.97. Okay.
And that's different than the first level where it's group. Everything's done in a group, and we have group coaching and you have video lessons. While platinum, you get to have private sessions with Monique and I, just focusing on your business. And you get three personal sessions where we go through giving you a jump start at the beginning. We give you a whole template when you're ready to actually pitch to grocery store buyers or retail buyers. We give you our pitch deck and we work with you on your presentation, just us focusing on your business. And that's why people join platinum. And even after you get in retail, you get another Zoom call, private Zoom call, just your business and us, and focusing on media. Because one thing, listen, one thing that's great about having a product on the shelf in a store, you would have done something that most people will never do. Even chefs, most chefs, caterers, bakers, people who own restaurants, they never get to the point of having a packaged product on grocery store shelves being sold to millions of people around the country. That makes you marketable, that makes you unique, that makes you something that is media of immediate interest. So in that third Zoom, we go over your what makes you marketable to the media, and we get eyes on you. Monique and I have been on every show: GMA, Today Show, Food Network. We've done QVC, selling our burgers on national television. Getting eyes on your business takes your product, your business to the next level and beyond,
It does.
and quickly. And so that last Zoom is to do a press release and figure out how we're going to get eyes on your business. So you get three Zoom sessions with that in platinum. And I think you're going to talk about private
And if you
private
want to be a
client.
private client, you
Hmm.
can message us and we can talk about what private client looks like.
Yeah.
But we do offer discovery calls. So if you're like, okay, I think I'm interested in the accelerator, if you want to hop on a Zoom with Shivalo and I, we can learn a little bit more about you. You can learn a little bit more about us. Let's learn a little bit more about your product, and we'll tell
Hmm.
you more about the accelerator. Let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Okay.
Let's see your
So we would
goals.
love to. So our email, let me give you our email address. If you're like, okay, I think this is something I may want to do, is contact at, and then it's just our name, recipeforretail.com. So contact at recipeforretail.com.
Recipe for retail.
Yep.
For retail. But guys, some of you sometimes to go with our topic, how do you land a deal with a retailer? The key is that you can't just have your product. Even if you go through the process, you develop your recipe, you do the branding that Monique was
We talked
talking
about
about.
branding,
Well, you get
consistent
it
branding.
right. You get it all packaged up. It's not in a mason jar anymore. Now it's in a nice, attractive packaging. But the thing is, now you're ready, and then you're able to have. Then you do, or you work with a contract manufacturer, a co-packer that has the capability to produce your product at a large scale. The next point is, how do you get in front of a buyer, a retail buyer, a supermarket buyer, or a retail buyer? That really is one of the last steps you're going to do to actually get in the store. Now, some people sometimes ask us, "So, guys, can you and do you and Monique really can get your product into grocery stores or into retail store shelves?" Yes, and because we have a partnership.
Yes. So a lot of times people will say, "Yeah, I can help you," but they don't really have any connections, so they really
Right.
can't help you. Okay. But we can help you. Okay. So what we do, in our it with Recipe for Retail, we just focus on the process.
Right.
Okay, that's our job, is to focus on the process. So whatever your product is, we're gonna make sure your product is really retail ready for
Mhm.
real. Okay. So it'll be a product you can actually hold in your hand. From there, we do work with RangeMe. Now, I don't know if you know what RangeMe is, so I'm saying RangeMe. RangeMe. They actually have a YouTube channel. You can check them out. Go to RangeMe, set up a free account. You don't need anything. You can just set up a free account with RangeMe. Now, on RangeMe, that is where the retailers make connections with suppliers. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they can make the connection there. We work with RangeMe. We send people over to RangeMe because we know the retailers are there literally waiting to say, okay, these are the products we need. Where are the suppliers? Okay. So if you're not on RangeMe, you should be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So set up a free RangeMe account. All right. From there, we also leverage ECRM's RangeMe's parent company. It's called ECRM. They also have a YouTube channel. So when we're done with the live, don't do it yet. Make sure you're following both of those pages. Okay. So ECRM, that's RangeMe's parent company. They have different events that they put on where the retailers come and they're in different locations, and the suppliers come and they actually sit down and they have in-person meetings with the retailers, right? So next week we'll be doing one that's in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. So you'll actually be sitting down meeting with the retailer, okay? So that's our streamlined process. We keep it very simple because, and that's why we have such a high rate of success. It's very streamlined. We know exactly how to take you from that's something I cook in my kitchen to sitting down at the table, actually getting a deal for retail.
That's
But
it.
once you sit down at the table, what is something that you could say to the retailer that would wow them to make them say, yes, this is a product that I want to carry? Um, it would be, how's your product different?
Right.
So make sure you guys are leading with that. How is your product different? How's your product unique? What problem are you solving for the retailer? So we just spoke about this a little bit on Instagram. This is something that the retailer looks for because they don't want more of the same. They're looking for new, innovative products, right?
Right.
Retailers are always looking for new, innovative product. So you want to make sure you're highlighting how your product is different, how your product is unique. So what I would recommend, go to the store. If you know you want to be in Kroger, make sure you're going to Kroger. And I would go to a few different Krogers, maybe go to a few different Krogers in different neighborhoods. Look at the area of the supermarket where your product fits at. Okay, go on the aisle. Where would my product be on this aisle? Okay, go there. I would take pictures of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would look at who's my competition. I would note the price. I would note their product size. What are their ingredients? Okay, I would go with the notebook, write down all of these things. Or if you have your phone, take photos of it. Okay, and then make that comparison to your product. How's your product different? Maybe all the other products in that category that you would go in, maybe they don't have clean ingredients. Well, we know the retailers are looking for clean ingredients, right? So how does your product fit into that? I make a product very similar to this. It's a totally different product. It's better. It has clean ingredients. Maybe you have different sizes to offer, okay? Maybe your taste, maybe it is a sauce, just like the sauce that's there, but maybe you have a different spin on it, okay? So do your research and understand what that retailer is about, who is their customer, and how your product would help them, okay? How my product is different, okay? This is the problem I'm going to solve with my product. So if you lead with that, that is something that the retailer will always appreciate, is how you're going to help them, because what they care about is their bottom line.
That's
Okay,
right.
that's what they care about, their bottom line. So if you come in there and you have a new innovative product and you're telling them, this is how I can help you, this is what I can bring to market, this is how I can help your sales. So if you stock me, let's say the thing you're coming, the market that you're, the category, you go in there and you've done your homework and you're like, this is a $3 billion a year category, or whatever it, or and you go in there and say, in this market, in this area, I know I've identified the different states that my product can sell in, right? You've identified those areas. I know, and I know I can get X amount of people. And then also pulling your data. This is how many followers I have on YouTube. This is how many followers I have on Facebook. This is how many followers I have on Instagram. And bringing that data into the retailer, that shows you did your homework and they appreciate that.
That's right. That's right. And guys, that's getting on the shelves, like how to land a deal with a retailer. Those are all the ways to do it and the techniques to get to that point. And I tell you, when you get your product on the shelf, now that starts a whole new new process and ways. But I tell you, you may also wonder, um, hey, if I get it on the shelves, how will I know it's going to sell? And I'll tell you, that's one thing Monique and I do not worry about whether it's going to sell, because there's so many ways to steer people and to get customers, to get eyes on your
Mhm.
product, to get people coming in, that your product selling is not an issue. But just to recap, guys, first step, if you want to get your product into retail, whatever you make, whatever you bake, the first thing I would say is to make that decision that you are going to share your product, your creation with the world. If you have something, a dish that you make, a dish, you have a food, you have a beverage, you have a health and beauty item, you have anything, an idea, you have a passed down recipe, it's been passed down for generations. Once you make that decision to share it with the world, not necessarily to make a buck, because the money's going to come.
Mhm.
But if you focus on getting it on the or getting it out to the masses, that's where it starts. First thing is you're going to develop your recipe. You're going to make sure you have your recipe down pat. Then you're going to make sure that you can deal with, as Monique talked about, the branding, the packaging, and making sure that is all together. You're going to speak with a co-packing facility to make sure that they can make it to your specifications. You're going to look at packaging to make sure the packaging is professional. Because here's the thing, just because you're a small or new vendor, you can really make the playing field even by having great packaging, as Monique talked about, with great colors and consistent brand suite all together. And then when you have that and you have a manufacturer that can produce your product at a large scale, you have that capability from a manufacturer that has all the certifications necessary, Food and Drug Administration, Department of Agriculture, audits, all that stuff your contract manufacturer will have. Then it's time to pitch to a retailer. And that's the stuff we were talking about, pitching to a retailer and being able to really be attractive, have your product attractive to them, and then you're off to the races.
But just remember the tips that we're giving you guys, okay? So, your branding, make sure you're putting your best foot forward, making sure, because sometimes you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So, make sure you're having a good, strong first impression when you're meeting with the retailer, okay? But follow the tips that we're giving you. Think about what are some ways my product is different. Go in the grocery store, do your research, do your homework, okay? Don't just go and just assume because you have a good product, they're going to tell you yes, okay? So just do the homework, do the research, follow the tips we laid out, and I think you guys will be okay. We have multiple videos on our channel, so take some time, look through the videos we have. We talk about how we got our product in Whole Foods, how we got our product in Costco, how we got our product in Walmart, all of those things, to help you guys take your businesses to the next level. Because when we tell you it's 100% possible to get your products in grocery stores, it
Mhm.
is. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it.
Exactly.
You absolutely can do it. We were on QVC for multiple years selling our product, okay, and successfully. We're QVC award winners. So if we can do it, you guys can do it. We are not chefs. We're
Mm-hmm.
not chefs. We don't have any prerequisites. So get that out of your head as well. So you don't have to be a chef.
Culinary
You don't have to go to
degree.
culinary school. I didn't go to culinary school. Okay. You don't have to have any of that. Okay. You just have to have the desire to really want to bring your product to market. That's it. There's
That's it.
so this is why it's such a cool market to be in.
Sure.
Because you don't need any of that other stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, so any questions, you guys can always reach out to us. You can leave your comments below. You can email us at contact@recipeforretail.com. So our channel name, which is Recipe for Retail, just contact@recipeforretail.com. You can always email us or reach out to us on all social media channels. So we're gonna be doing more lives. So we're gonna be giving our YouTube channel a little bit more love. So we'll be coming back live more. But no questions are dumb questions. So if you have a question, ask us, and we're happy to answer the question for you to help you get that information that's really, really going to take your businesses to the next level.
That's right.
Yes, but this was fun, and we're planning on doing more of these.
Listen, I plan on seeing your products on the shelf. I want to go into the store and see it there, guys.
Yes.
Listen, if you have something, just focus on sharing it with the world, because if we want it, there's millions of people out there who want what you have. It just has to be in a way that they can get it.
That's it. That's it. Just has to be in a way you can get it. So check out the other videos, the other tips we're giving you on co-packing and all that good stuff. And let us know how we can help you bring your product to market, okay?
Like and subscribe, right?
Like and subscribe. That's the main thing. I'm slipping. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, okay? All right, guys. Have an amazing day. Take care.